What is going on, YouTube? Carter here with Edged Mindset. Thank you for joining me today. We're going to be taking a look at this lovely Preytheon from Arcane Designs right here. But first, let me say thank you so much for being a part of the channel, commenting, participating, liking, subscribing, all that stuff. I don't think I say that as much as I should. Because without that, I mean, there wouldn't be any point to this, right? Like, I enjoy talking about this stuff. I enjoy nerding out about this stuff. But if I'm not doing it to anybody, and if they're not digging it and commenting and reacting to it, then what's the point? So appreciate everybody that does that. It kind of keeps this going and makes me happy and gives me warm fuzzies. So yeah, let's get into it. So this is the Preytheon from Arcane Designs. Now, I know what you're thinking. I know exactly what you're thinking. The second you saw this knife, when I plopped it down on this mat here, you said, Carter, this is not new, right? We've seen this. It's been out. I know it's been out. But this is the first time that I have had a chance to handle one of these. And if you watched my unboxing video on this knife, you will know that is because I thought it would be too small. I thought it would be too little for my stupid big hands. I don't know. I've got a hang up with knives where I want them to be as large as possible. And I'm slowly moving into smaller knives. Now, I don't think I'm ever going to be into smaller knives, but I'm certainly not avoiding them like I used to be. Second thing I know that you're thinking, you're saying, Carter, but this isn't a small knife. And I would say to that, I would say, you are correct. It's not, but I thought it was. Let's do some sizes here, just so you know what I'm talking about. I mean, it's got over a 3-inch blade. It's like 3 1/4. I don't know why I thought this would be too small. Almost 7.5 inches, like 7 1/4. We'll call it 7 1/4. So under 8 inches, under 7.5 inches. So that was a big red flag to me of, wow, that's way too small. I'm not going to like it. It's not going to fit in my hand. I was wrong. It's a very adequately sized knife, and it's very comfortable. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Here it is compared to a Paramilitary 2, kind of my favorite gold standard knife to compare things to. And we'll do the Ramet Rhino just, because it's here. Little bit bigger than the Ramet Rhino, which this one was surprising as well. Very comfortable, very nicely sized. And then let's compare it to another Arcane Designs. This is the Creature, which is a pretty large knife. You can see how much bigger it is. So traditionally, I wouldn't have gotten anything smaller than this. I wanted my blades to be around 4 inches, 3.75, somewhere around there. 3.5 was like my minimum. So anytime I dipped below 3.5, I just instinctively said, it's too small. It's too small. Here it is compared to, I forget the name of this knife. What is that called? I cannot for the life of me remember. This is the, I think, Infinity something or other. One of these weird, interesting knives. I've got a video on that in case you care to see that. And then let's do the Wee Solid, just because I have it here. So there it is compared to the Wee Solid. Quite a bit smaller than that. Let's do a weight. Now, this one is the carbon fiber version, so I believe it is the lightest weight version that they have. 3.2 ounces. Very carryable. Very, very carryable. So let's do top to bottom, 20 CV blade, drop point, which is excellent. Pretty thick behind the edge. This is not what you'd call a slicer. However, it will go through material. The blade is reasonably thick with a stout tip, but it's not crazy. You have all this clearance too to kind of push through material, but flat ground, relatively high, not full flat ground. So not a slicer per se, but capable, right? For general EDC cutting, general tasks, yes. Not the best in terms of really gliding through material. So keep that in mind. 20 CV blade, I think I already said that. This one has a black coating. I don't like it. It's a little too solid for me. For example, this one has a little more of a kind of a stonewash over it. I didn't do this. I did stonewash the handle. I did not stonewash the blade. You can see how it's got just a little more depth to it. It doesn't look as shiny and kind of gummy as this one does. I mean, it's got a little bit of mattness to it, just not as much. I don't like the black coating on this one. It's a little too cheap looking, a little too shiny. I don't know if it's an older way of doing it or what, but I don't dig it that much. For deployment, we've got thumb studs. Reverse flick is really good. Thumb flick is really good. You can also front flip it just like that. It's okay. It's not, I wouldn't say front flipping is the best on this. This jimping right here is really smooth. It gives you a little bit of texture, but the fact that this doesn't go up all that much and you don't have that much texture, it's not the best front flipper, but you can see I'm doing it. And if I can do it, you can do it. I'm not very good at front flipping, so use that as evidence. I would just like to see a little more jimping on the top here, or a little more aggressive jimping, I guess is what I would say. Reverse flick is excellent. It's got a really strong detent. Now, this lock bar is tuned pretty stoutly. You may not like that because not only does it make a really strong detent, the action's, I don't want to say stiff, but it's not as fluid and flowy as I would kind of expect for a bearing knife like that. Like this one is far smoother. When you go to close it, almost just drops shut on its own. This one is a little stouter. The action's a little stouter. Now you could adjust that if you wanted. You could try to take this apart, reduce some of this lock bar tension. I've noticed that on these inset liners, it can be a little bit trickier than a standard frame lock, so keep that in mind. Handles here, we have carbon fiber. Different versions. They've got full titanium. I think they've got G10, different colors. You've got titanium inlaid here with the same kind of finish as on the blade. Nice pivot with no tool mark right there. Keeps it nice and clean. Single body screw that goes through this backspacer. And if this is put together like all the other Arcane designs, it probably has a pin in here as well that holds everything together. In fact, I'm pretty much sure of it because I don't know how else it would kind of function. I believe this pocket clip's titanium. I'm not 100% sure though. I need to grab a magnet and check. The only reason I question it is just how it would be made. Because like this couldn't be a solid piece of titanium. I mean, I guess it could, but that is a big chunk of titanium to mill this out of. And this doesn't look like it's been bent. It's just far too thick here. So I don't know what this is made out of. If it's titanium, it would have to be a huge chunk of titanium just to get this pocket clip because it wraps all the way down here with the screw going through the butt so that it can be reversible. So left-handed carry, you are good to go. Now let's talk ergonomics. Remarkably, fantastically, amazingly great. I get a full 4-finger grip on this thing. It feels secure, feels good. I even have a little bit hanging off. So that's why it just goes to show that you really need to get it in hand to understand how everything comes together. I easily could have saw the size of this thing and how your fingers come only right here below that pivot. You're not all the way up at the front. And I could have easily said, I don't think I'm going to get full 4 fingers on this thing. But I do, absolutely no problem. This Troyal's, I mean, it's good for sharpening, but I wouldn't recommend putting your finger there. It's just not small enough. You hit that corner. If you really squeeze it, you're going to cut yourself. So Troyal is more visual and for sharpening, not so much for choking up. Not that you really need it in a knife this size. I mean, you get pretty far up there. Got some jimping on the back here, which isn't particularly aggressive per se, but it's deep. So it does give you good purchase. Could be better, but not too bad. Got that logo right there. I think that is for the Preytheon. Arcane Designs does a custom logo for their knives. Kind of cool. Like the Creature has this little Creature logo right there. They've all got, the Praxis has its own logo, so that's kind of cool. Can't say I particularly enjoy this one or understand what it is. Looks like a T in some parentheses there. Or, parentheses, right? Oh, gosh, I don't know. What are those called? What are those little squiggly braces? Not the curly braces, standard braces. I'm having a brain fart. Whatever those are called. That's what it looks like. So I don't quite understand it. I don't know what a T has to do with the Preytheon. Is it supposed to be a P? I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. Arcane Designs written in there, so it's not all over the blade. You do have the Arcane Designs logo, which I think is pretty cool. Overall, cool knife. Kind of mad that I didn't get one. I wouldn't get this configuration, but I know there were some that were pretty cool. There were some exclusives that I thought were pretty cool. They keep going for a back flipper. There's no back flipper. But I didn't jump on it for the reasons I mentioned before. So that's on me. This is a very cool knife. So if you see one, don't hesitate to grab one, especially if you can get it for like a good price. It's a fun, medium-sized, snappy little knife that looks pretty cool. Really nice design. All right, guys, I will catch you later. What do you think of this knife? Do you think it's cool? Did you think it was too small? Did you think it was too big? Let me know. Comment down below.